Yes, sir. Are the Lakers too old? I'm not gonna go out of my way and say, yeah, the Lakers are old as shit, man. I don't know how they're gonna make it happen. The game is so fast, yada yada yada. I mean, if you just watch the last NBA Finals and understand that you don't really have to worry so much about shooting. They put so much emphasis on having this sharpshooter, this marksman from the outside that you can't win it. Meanwhile, Giannis was dominating in the paint to where Ayton was a non-factor. All you have to do is slow down the game. Just because everybody wants to shoot threes nowadays, pulling up from the logo or whatever, I guess every other team has to follow suit. Are the Lakers too old? It's just so funny that LeBron, ironically, has been involved with a handful of the older teams, a handful of the teams that averaged the oldest age, but those teams were running the league. You had the '06 Spurs that LeBron ran into in his first encounter in the finals, got swept playing with Varejao and Ilgauskas. Then you had him play against the Dallas Mavericks in 2010, lost in the finals to where he crumbled, had a total meltdown, bro. That's inexcusable. Losing to Dirk Nowitzki, J.J. Barrera, Sean Marion, Peja Stojakovic, bro. But then he got his title in 2012. Oldest player was Ray Allen, 37 years old, hit the most clutch shot in NBA history, bro, against the Spurs. They ended up winning in Game 7. But then they ended up losing to those same Spurs. Tim Duncan's about 38 years old, bro. Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. But they had the young Kawhi Leonard, who was 22 years old, who put the clamps on LeBron and was the Finals MVP. So, of course, it's going to help to have that one young stud because you're old. Guys are out there looking like dinosaurs and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? You're going to want to maintain your body throughout this regular season because it's a marathon. That's why so many people hated Pop. People are buying tickets to a Spurs game, but Tim Duncan is sitting on the bench with Tony Parker, and you only got Manu Ginobili playing. And then 2 nights later, Manu is on the bench, Tony and Tim are playing. But that's how you got to do it, bro. That's why Pop consistently held veterans on his team. You know that veterans know what to do with experience. Then all you have to do is mix in some younger players. It's really not so much about shooting. It's all about chemistry, coaching, and execution, bro. They got Russell Westbrook. I feel like that could work out because now LeBron, he could play off the ball. He could shoot better than Westbrook, so why not have Westbrook create? Because he's going to be better with the ball in his hand. Westbrook, for the most part, a pretty durable player, so it was a smart move. It was a very smart move. LeBron could play off the ball, he could shoot, and then he could make it happen when it comes down to it. And then they wanted to add Melo. Like, LeBron could have added Melo years back when Melo was going on this sob tour talking about teams not looking at him and shit, like that dime piece that hit the wall, looking for beta males to accept her for that last relationship because she knows her options are running out. Let's see what they're talking about, though.
Experience over age is the mentality of the Lakers as they stack their roster for the upcoming campaign. Their biggest addition, 32-year-old Russell Westbrook. And then there's also 37-year-old Carmelo Anthony, who, by the way, is the same age as LeBron. AD, the final member of the newly founded Big Three, is 28. So this brings the age average down a bit.
AD is 28, but to the naked eye, the man has the body of a 38-year-old. Pause. With all of the injuries that this man has been going through his whole career, that's the main thing that they have to watch. AD is going to be treated like Tim Duncan this year. That's the only way they're going to win it. And the NBA needs the Lakers to make it to the finals to play the Nets. That will boost their ratings. That will boost the viewership. They need that to save the league. Even though people can't stand LeBron right now, they would love to see LeBron go against KD. LeBron go against Kyrie. You know what I'm saying? Then you got Westbrook in the mix going against KD.
But listen to this, gentlemen. Once these moves become official, the Lakers will have 13 players on their roster, 8 of whom are age 32 or older. The average age of the players projected to be on their roster, nearly 33 years old, putting LA on track to have the oldest team in NBA history. And I just mentioned in the bottom, right now, Staples Center is being called the old folks' home. So, Sam, are the Lakers just too old?
I think they are. I really do. And it's not just because of age, because I think that with age comes experience. And I respect age. Max, as you know, I talked about LeBron and his experience, but I'm more concerned about the injuries. Like, that's where my issues come. One of your youngest superstars, AD, he's 28 years old, but he's been injury prone. He was out for 30 games last year. LeBron James, who's 36 years old, who's went to championship after championship after championship, he missed 26 last year. And then 2 years before, he missed 17 games in a row before we had to sit out the rest of the season. Carmelo Anthony, who we're glad that the Lakers fans are ecstatic right now. You got your shooter. He's 37. And so I'm not necessarily concerned about the
If Melo can turn into the Olympic Melo, they got their shooter.
age when it comes to experience. I'm more concerned about health. I'm high on the Lakers, but can they stay healthy? Max, you talk all the time about these hypothetical situations, assuming everybody in the world is healthy. We can't assume that. And so that's why you got to look at the age of these players and say, you know what? I think they're all talented. Russell Westbrook, 32 years old, super talented. But man, when you start getting older, the wear and tear on your body, we saw it this year with the shortened offseason, people get injured. And so that's where my concerns come with this LA Lakers team. Are they talented? Yes. Are they old? I believe they're old, and that you're going to see it when it comes with some of the injuries that you're going to see this year.
That's right. You know, you can't deny that with age comes injury, although AD's always been injury prone. I don't know if his age has anything to do with it, and he's not old. He's in his prime, ostensibly. And Westbrook's been remarkably healthy, knock wood. And every year he's with new teammates on a new team. And in the first half, we're like, well, that's it. Age has caught up. And in the second half, we go, damn, this dude is like an MVP. So I expect that to continue. LeBron, 2 of the last 3 years, a normal Iron Man type guy has missed large chunks, and they've missed the playoffs and not advanced in the playoffs because of it, right? And he couldn't, well, they missed AD, but also LeBron wasn't at 100%. That's legitimate. But if you need to list the reasons the Lakers may not win other than a healthy Nets team, I wouldn't say age is number one. The number one issue is the shooting. Because you have 3 players who are going to get the majority of the minutes, right? You have 48 minutes at each position, 5 positions, and you're going to get a huge chunk of those minutes at 3 positions, often playing on the floor at the same time, with a guy in Westbrook who doesn't shoot it well, a guy in LeBron James who shoots it average for his position, you'd say, in today's NBA, and a guy in AD who you might say the same. They don't have enough shooting there. The best shooter on the team in the starting lineup is Wayne Allen.
That having enough shooting talking point is kind of tired, man, because the Milwaukee Bucks, they weren't shooters. You can have a couple people that hit 3-pointers, yes, but when you're slowing the game down in this fast-paced game to where everybody wants to jack up threes, the emphasis on shooting is not that important, bro.
Unless you start Gasol, who at times, given the matchup, was a little unplayable in these playoffs. Dwight Howard's not a shooter, obviously. They need shooting. They picked up Trevor Ariza, Monk. They picked up some guys, but they need shooting. And if those guys shoot it well, in fact, Talen Horton-Tucker is their most valuable kind of commodity going forward. The guy with the most room for improvement, who you believe can fulfill excellent potential, and he's not a shooter. So they really, like, he might wind up this year being the 4th best guy on the team, and he doesn't shoot it. So age, yes, but like if you're checking off age as the number one concern, I think you're overlooking the actual number one concern on this team.
The actual number one concern is not shooting. It's going to be chemistry. But for some odd reason, I feel like the Lakers are going to make it work because they have no choice. You know what I'm saying? And in all honesty, I feel like they're going to have fun this year. But they have to play through Anthony Davis. There's no other way around it. All this emphasis on shooting is bullshit. If Anthony Davis is dominating in the paint, shooting won't even fucking matter because he's going to be at the free throw line all day. Who can D him? All that shooting bullshit, throw that shit out the window. If AD is averaging 30 and 15, it doesn't matter about shooting at that point.
Well, that's why you go and you add Carmelo, right? You add Carmelo. We know that Russell Westbrook drives. We know that LeBron at his best is going downhill. But you add a guy like Carmelo who can maybe expand the floor a little bit. And I understand shooting is still an issue, but I think LA is actually addressing the issue. Let's add Carmelo, THT, let's see what he can do. But we're making moves in the right direction. I think that, Milwaukee Bucks, they won the NBA championship this year. Their shooting wasn't excellent, and they found a way to win. Yes, you can talk about injuries, right? Injuries happen. But I think that
Carmelo still do that tired ass 3-dribble step back on everybody, and it still gets him in the mid range.
into this lineup, with LeBron, with AD, who could take the last shot and help you win a game, with Russell Westbrook, I think is a formidable matchup. But age, in my opinion, is the biggest issue because, once again, it goes back to not only are you able to make the play, but are you available, right? Availability over ability. Yes, you could have the best shooters. If they're not available to shoot, it don't matter.
Carmelo was once a great scorer and is still an effective one. He's bad defensively, but
he's terrible defensively.
It's not like a catch and shoot kind of guy. Like, one of the reasons it looked like he was out of the league for a second, and I was fooled into thinking it, is because the landscape shifted under his feet, and he was neither a 3 nor D guy. He could hit a 3, but he's like on ball, monopolizing it, running an offense, and so he didn't do any special thing well enough, people thought, to be a valuable role player. It turns out, actually, but he can still do everything well enough on offense to contribute. But that's not what I mean by he's not a catch and shoot 3 guy, which it's probably a pretty good idea to put on the floor with LeBron James and Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis. Maybe not just another ball dominant guy, right? They have issues in terms of fit and in terms of shooting, I think, that supersede age. I still like him out of the West. I said all that.
Exactly. You still like him out of the West because who's going to beat him when Kawhi's status is unsure? You don't even know if he's going to play this year. The Phoenix Suns, a lot of people are going to say that last season was a fluke. They played the Lakers when they were hobbled. They played Denver Nuggets without Jamal Murray. Last year was just basically a shit show when it came to injuries. But Melo, how could you say that he's not a catch and shoot? Like, anybody that's playing the game of basketball can catch and shoot. That's basic. But when it comes down to it, man, the main factor is going to be, can Anthony Davis be the best player on this team? Can Anthony Davis be that New Orleans Pelicans AD? If he's dominating in the paint, it's going to be so much easier for anybody to be a quote-unquote catch and shoot player. And not to digress, but I forgot to throw this old, quote-unquote, old team in the mix that was dominating the league, and that being the 95-98 Chicago Bulls. And, of course, you know that Michael Jordan played on that team, so age ain't nothing but a number. Let me know what y'all think, man. I'm out.